Welcome back to the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jay Seminix. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage continues. Brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Synergenics. Now joined by Neil Smith in the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame. But you got your 2 rings with the Denver Broncos. But every year when we see you on Radio Row, man, you're just having fun with all these Chiefs appearances in the Super Bowl.
Nice for the last 4 or 5 years now. It's the 5th year, so it's been good.
Are you surprised is probably not the right word, but the Chiefs' success, and I mean, they just a lot has to do with that quarterback, but I mean, and Andy Reid, but are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not. I mean, Andy has definitely put his foot down, and the Kansas City Chiefs that came in, when he came to Kansas City, he had they put it all together, man. They say, hey, you know what? We have a great quarterback, and we want to put the players around him and to make it right. And I'll tell you what, they've done an excellent job of doing that. They're going to have their hands full again this week. They've been here. Most of the Frisco guys that haven't been on that Super Bowl team of past have not, but yet, it's just another task at hand, man. I just think that, they're always going to be in the hump. So number 15, he's got up, right?
Neil, you think about the past Chiefs Super Bowl appearances, been all about the offense. This year, Kansas City has really stepped up their defense. Being a defensive lineman, how much are you appreciating their focus on building that side of the ball?
Well, they have one more opportunity to get it done. They've definitely struggled offensively wise, throughout the years, but, with a lot of drop balls and, a few turnovers early in the season. But I think they know when they're a good tournament team, put it like this. And when the tournament starts, that one game elimination, they raise it up, they raise the stake up to another level. And in Kansas City, I think everybody expect that now. I mean, they've gotten so comfortable, whereas they feel like it's an on thing that is supposed to be done. So anytime they give the ball to Patrick, they feel like, they're good for a score. But then the defense, on the other hand, they stepped up to where they've been winning the turnover ratio. And, and they've been getting off the field and giving it back to them. So it's all working out right now. But they still got to seize this moment this week. And I'm sure they'll be up for the task.
I've got to ask you because, you were a monster on the field. And quarterbacks probably had fear in their eyes when they look across the line and see you. Was there one guy that you just like to give a little extra to?
Well, that's like every week somebody wants to give it to me like that too. Every week somebody wants to give me that extra little but I've said in the past, when the late Derek Thomas and myself was playing, we had one guy that we just loved to sack, and that was John Elway. I mean, man, and the more you sack him, the more he got up and he smiled in your face and he's going to beat you at the end. And we just couldn't find the remedy to look what is in this guy, what is in his DNA. But he was so competitive and we saw him twice a year, and then one year we saw him 3 times. So he just was a hard specimen, in fact, and he took us to another level. So it happens. I think guys that have their teams they want to play against. Now that you're in Vegas, I used to love to play against the Oakland Raiders, not a Vegas Raiders. So with them, because when it was in Oakland, they have the most beautiful fans in the world. It's totally opposite, because those guys, in Oakland, they was rude. It's one of the worst places ever to play in. And I don't understand why they move out of Oakland to come here, but
yeah, I got you. Neil Smith, 2-time Super Bowl champion, joining us here on the Blitz. We're in Cowboys country down in San Antonio, and this year the Cowboys struggled stopping the run. When you watch the Cowboys and you see what they were doing defensively, especially how it kind of petered off in December and they got destroyed by Green Bay in the playoff game. What were they doing defensively from your perspective wrong?
Well, I think once they start moving Michael Parsons around and they was identifying him early in the season, you look, people couldn't find him. He was moving around so much where you want to get him in space and get him with the one-on-ones. And it seemed like he was getting tired at the end. I don't understand what team was just, was working him more. They was bringing guys in motion, chipping on him, where he can get one-on-one. And then at the end, I just think he probably kind of ran out of gas a little bit. And what hurt him more than anything, that they could never stop the run hardly out. And it comes with those guys in the middle. The 2 guys in the middle, the run stoppers and the linebacker have to be on one accord. And I think that the Cowboys, they failed in that situation because they didn't have the edge rushers. The edge was good, but they never had that middle stopper that dominant guy that can stop the run and it hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, when you look at Micah Parsons, Neil, and I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's fast, he's quick, and he's always moving. But do you think that's a problem for him late in games when you got big linemen blocking him and then somebody always chipping him? Does that take an effect in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to condition yourself to work the long haul. You can burn yourself in the beginning of the season, but, these guys, they don't hit anymore hardly throughout the years. And the only way you get yourself condition-wise, back in the days when we used to put pads on and actually, develop the body to where you can condition yourself for the long haul. So I just think the Dallas Cowboys looked that flat. I just couldn't believe, in that last game how flat they came out defensively and wasn't ready to play.
It's insane, right? And it wasn't just one side of the ball or one guy. It was as an entire team they came out flat. Yeah. You talk about the two guys in the middle because the run stopping was pathetic, right? And it was an issue going into the season. We knew that was a weakness they had in the offseason. They said they addressed it in the draft by getting Mozzie Smith, who did not have a great rookie year. Then, halfway through the year, you hear like Dan Quinn, then the defensive coordinator say, it takes a while to learn. How long should it take a first-round pick to figure out how to play at the NFL level?
It all depends on what position they play. You know what? Safe. I mean,
big old nose guys, run stopper.
Well, the run stoppers, I put it as a defensive whole. If you look at it, I think it takes you 3 to 4 years to really get comfortable and active to where your surrounding is and how the game and how tempo the game is and, your learning curve. It's very often you see guys that come straight out of college and get to the D-line and be that dominant guy unless they're a skill guy. If you can get an edge rusher, yes, because he rushes past all the time. But to learn the defense and because everybody – in the National Football League is good. They're there for a reason, and they're there to play, and they're there that. So my saying is that it takes a learning curve about 3 years, and you got to give him an opportunity.
Are there some, and you say give him an opportunity, intricacies that he's got to learn? Because a lot of people, and I'll raise my hand here, going, did the Cowboys miss on this guy as a first-round pick? Because first-round guys should be immediate impact, or 2 or 3 years, we might look back and say the Cowboys got it right.
Yeah, I mean, you have guys like that on your field, and sometimes you make that mistake, and sometimes they try to hide it, where they won't say that we lost a guy that we thought of who he was, and he wasn't. So, mistakes happen. You could miss or you can hit on somebody later or early in. But when you go out to look for guys, you got to go out and look for guys that can fill your standards, how your defense is, what he can do with the next guy, the next one. And out there, Dallas has always been good at that, but they always never got that one pick, in the draft. They've always got guys that was at the end of their careers, to come in and put those positions together.
What do you think about the game today? When you played, I mean, it was a physical game, still is to some extent, but not like it was when you played. Do you like this brand of football that they're playing in the NFL now?
I wish I was playing in it. That's all I say. I mean, hell yeah, I like it. Most of my sacks, all 105 of them came on probably third downs, and now they're throwing the ball on first downs. Every down they throw the balls, and the quarterbacks are never under the center. So it's like, when you see those guys, it's like, man, it's like they got trick plays, 1 yard passes. I don't get it. But you know what would really trick me? You put yourself like me into those positions. Can I adjust to this style of play? Absolutely. But what I don't see is guys putting their hands up. You can get off the field at any time. On third down, you don't have to get that sack. You can put your hands on the ball and tip it, and it's in our hands, or tip it and knock it down. Then you're off the field. So to me, I had more fun knocking balls down, on third downs and getting off the field than I had sacks, and they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, but pass deflected, people don't get as excited about that. They don't say, man, Neil Smith joining us, he had 14 passes deflected. No, it's 105 sacks.
Yeah, but I understand, but if you put it in, if they would really count, I probably had more knockdowns than I had sacks.
Interesting.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Because, there's some people, that guy, he didn't do anything all day. He didn't even get a sack.
But he didn't raise his hands up either.
That's right.
So there you go.
Yeah, but
as long as you win,
I got more ammunition.
But he'll tell you how many holding calls he did not get. We're back to Micah Parsons, right? We
you know what? There's holding it on every play. Can they actually call it? They're supposed to call it at the point of attack. If he's somewhere around the ball and he's being held, it should be called. But referees don't see it that way.
Yeah.
If the players are going away, Well, you can hold them on the backside. They will never call that. They will never.
I bet you got held every play.
Every play is holding on every play.
You're getting held right now.
Exactly.
I mean, it just comes with the territory. And nobody's holding you back from a barbecue tray. You're from Kansas City, or you're in Kansas City now.
Sure.
We've talked about this some before, because I'm a fan of Joe's. The burn ends at Joe's are that's the best. What do you do for Super Bowl Sunday? What's your barbecue?
Well, the last few Super Bowls, ever since I met Mike Sis, I've been with him. So, if I was back home, of course, you have to have the wings. Of course, you got to have some kind of chips and dips, and a Crown and Coke would help. Yeah. Or a beer or two. I say everything they announce on television is what you really want to do, and having a good party. But it's looking at the commercials. I think the commercials are so funny. I mean, they're so expensive, but yet, what one do you really like? And then you get the chance to rate them. So everybody get quiet when the commercials come on and see who they like, and did they get the message? Some of them are hard to get, and some come easy. So, you have your favorites of that. And then, the halftime show itself, everybody don't want to move and want to see the halftime show because it's what everybody's been waiting on.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Neil Smith joining us here on the Blitz. You're with Mike Sisk, a guy we've known for a long time, and he's got a new company called MBO, Mind Body Optimization. And you are coming to San Antonio, Mike. Tell us a little bit about your new venture.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this mental health thing is obviously it's top of mind. You hear it every day in the news. And so we're just bringing a new concept. I've got therapy, I've got psychiatry, and we're making it a one-stop shop. So we're making it much easier and access for people. So I was down in San Antonio, I was up north, went out, looked at a couple of locations. Hopefully we'll be there by the end of the summer.
Now, do you see that? I mean, there always seemed to be a stigma, right, between mental health, and now it seems like it's more of a, hey, if you need help, get help.
It's amazing how many people I talk to that go to the counselors, they have psychiatrists, they have issues, but they don't talk about it. And so, our tagline is, it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay.
And so go get help. I mean, that's what it's for. And there's nothing wrong with it. I thought the same thing when we did Low T Center, right? People are like, oh my God, that makes me less of a man. Yeah. And now you look, everybody talks about it. It's going to be the same thing with mental health.
Nice.
You're obviously on Radio Row talking to thousands and thousands of guys. How difficult is it to find a guy that will ask for help?
It's very difficult. It's much more difficult than the low T side of it. But everybody has a story. There's not one person that I've talked to that doesn't know somebody or somebody in their family that is struggling with a mental health issue. But a lot of people just don't know where to start. And so that's really why we started the company and if nothing else, I'm going to give somebody a starting point.
And you will be in San Antonio.
Absolutely. Be there this summer.
This summer,
yes,
you're going to have locations. mindbodyo.com is the website.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Neil Smith, Mike Sisk. Appreciate you boys stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you.
AA Best Bail Bonds. Big game coverage live from Las Vegas. Powered by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Synergenics, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.